Um, all right. Am I sharing the correct screen? Can everybody see the slides?
Yep.
Excellent. Should I just start, or is some kind of other intro or something?
I think we're starting.
All right,
introduce
cool.
yourself. I'll introduce myself and we'll move on.
All right, awesome. I'm Ross Seligman in Portland, Oregon.
Awesome. I'm Darcy Vanderzanden in Portland, Oregon as well.
Today we're talking about database day. And Darcy and I are super obsessed with databases. And so much so I created one. And it's what I'm really excited about is Darcy and I both work really hard to cultivate our sphere, but we do it differently. There's variations. I mean, everybody has variations on how they're doing this. And I am super excited to have this conversation with Darcy today because I know I'm going to learn a ton. So
right back at you, Ross. Even when we were chatting about this, it's like literally we were starting to talk about the class, and I'm like, we really got into that whole conversation of like, he'd start to talk about something. Oh, I do it this way. I'm like, oh my gosh, have you thought about that? And that's kind of what we want to bring to you guys, is like some fresh new ideas of how we're not only creating our database, but also loving on our database and turning that database into referrals and reviews.
Yeah. And so the way we think this is going to go is I'm going to talk about some of the whys and what's, and Darcy's really going to talk about the hows, right?
Perfect.
But we might just get in a conversation and who knows what's going to happen, because that's what started happening every time we've talked about this together. So, so the first thing I want to talk about, let's see if I can get a slide up here, is why. What's the point? Like, why do this? My sphere, my database is truly the lifeblood of my business. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about, I've been in real estate now for 17 years. And over time, I now am conscious that I have this feeling inside, and Darcy, I want to know, or anybody, I want to know if anybody has this sort of feeling, that to make it matter to my business, it can't just be a one and done. That's Absolutely. How I feel about it. Right. So although sometimes it is, I mean, sometimes somebody shows up and you're going to do a transaction and you're going to help them change their lives, and that's meaningful too. But for it to really matter for the bigger picture of my business, I have to feel like I brought them into my world. I brought them into my community. I brought them into my sphere. These are the people that I'm going to be inviting to events. These are the people that I'm going to be continually marketing to. These are the people that I want to know, that I care about them. And that's really one of the big things here, is that I personally believe that people take it for granted that I'm an expert in real estate. And whether this is true or not. And the reason I say that is because I'm always sending the market stats. I'm always doing market videos. I'm like talking about like things like that. But I think about, what's the differentiator? Why are they going to use me as an agent? And I feel that the reason is not because they think I'm an expert. I think that, we're all doing, hopefully, we're all doing a lot of this stuff. We're putting out stats. We're letting people know what's going on in the market. The reason why I feel that my people in my sphere are using me are because they feel that I care what will happen to them in a transaction.
Well, Ross, it's a relationship business. This whole thing,
yeah.
And when you think about it, as I said earlier, it's like, it's a belly to belly. Like, you care about them. And one of the things I always say, and Ross, you do such an amazing job with it, is like, I have separation anxiety. Like, when I leave, you are so with them in one of like the most important decisions of their life. And like, to let them just go, it's a win-win. Like, to have them still be your real estate for life, but also too, you want to know what happened to Johnny when you put him in the best school district that he wanted to get to. You want to know. So it's also, like I said, it's a win-win. And Ross is probably going to cut me off a couple of times because I'm a talker.
That's great. No, I very much appreciate that. So, and believe it or not, because you wouldn't know it from this presentation, but Darcy and I are both self-proclaimed extroverted introverts. Mm-hmm. So I, over the years, have needed to push. This is the weirdest thing. I have this conflicting thing, and I just, but I make myself do it no matter what. And here's what the conflicting thing is. I, over the years, have sometimes been like, oh, I don't want to go make a bunch of phone calls. I don't want to, like, I have to go do all this stuff. There was aspects of COVID that really suited me. I was really happy to have like video become normalized, However, here's the thing. once I would push myself and make myself make the phone calls, make myself, get face to face, belly to belly, I loved it. It gave me life. It gave me energy. And it also reminded me of why I do this. So, and I don't want anyone to think that that's a struggle that's over for me. I mean, I do this all the time. I have this thing, and I always make myself do it because I know that this is what's important. So, this brings me to the next bullet point here, that especially in this market, that skillionaires become millionaires, right? When I heard Craig say that, I think that's the first time I heard it, was Craig said it. And I've been thinking about it a lot because, I've been trying to think about what that means personally, like action, to take action with that. What does that mean? We are now clearly well into this market shift. And I was thinking about how my team was behaving, how I've seen other people, were behaving in the past couple of years. And we were all, my team, we were kind of hanging on, we were just hanging on for dear life because so many calls were coming in, so many, requests for tours, and we had to hurry up, really fast. And there were times where I really didn't do what I needed to do, where I didn't, so I think that some agents had never built the skills to nurture their sphere because they were so new, and they were being hit by a fire hose of business. For us, we were getting, knocked off of what I knew that we had to do. And now I'm like, all right, back to basics. And basics are creating a community with your sphere, because it is the best ROI, obviously. And I buy leads. I do Zillow. I do all that, right? But to me, the true ROI of things like Zillow is not that one sale, not that one transaction. It's meeting those people, bringing them into my world, bringing them into my sphere, nurturing them over time, and turning those into multiple sales, right? That's, to me, the ROI. So that's what it means to me. That's what the skillionaires become millionaires mean to me, right? But and then the third point here, efficiency. I got to tell you what I mean emotionally about efficiency. Okay, so efficiency, taking the prep out of the most important actions in your business so you can just get to work. So if anyone shares the feeling that I have of sometimes being like, oh, I got to put myself out there, I got to make those calls, right? If I have to sit there and I have to agonize over my entire database and figure out, well, who did I call last time? And what did we talk about? And, what do I talk? If I have to do all of that, it's just, I know myself, it's not going to be consistent, right? So that's why I have my CRM, which I'm going to show you. One of the things I wanted from my CRM was to take all the prep out of that. I want to literally sit down and have it just go, okay, here's your people. Okay. And here's here's what you talked about last time. And here's social media links. So you can go look at their Facebook and find something to celebrate if you can't think of anything else or whatever. So that's the basic why. Darcy, do you share any of that?
Exactly. Because like you said, you need to make it a little bit systematized. And Ross, just like you, there's parts of COVID I really liked. The screen, like we talked about a little bit ago, not my favorite thing. But what I got out of the habits, and that's what I think is the hardest thing for me, is because we couldn't be face-to-face, we couldn't do the client events, we couldn't do the coffees, the happy hours, let's just meet and catch up. I got out of the habit of doing it. And so that's really, really become my focus and my team's focus. I'm like, hey, you remember before in 2019, when part of our time blocking was like 2 not even client appointments, 2 sphere appointments a week. And this is what's awesome about our business. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen Susie in 6 months. And yeah, she's a client, but you know what? I want to go have coffee with her, but I can call it work. And what's so amazing to me is within a month of having coffee with Susie, almost always I got a referral from her. And I didn't meet her to be like, hey, who do you know that's buying or selling real estate? Because I'm sorry, I hate that. That's just not me. I will never ask those questions. If you do it and you do it well, awesome. I sound ridiculous. It doesn't work for me. But getting in front of those people and getting back in that habit. And like you said, back to basics, because we have been for so long, as we've been talking about with RCC, we've just been order takers for so long. And we were so crazy with the run. Some of it's actually kind of exciting for me. I don't know about any of you guys, but this market in a way is kind of exciting. I get to get back to nurturing those relationships, because for most of us, that's why we got into this. We didn't get into this to, oh, I want to buy and sell houses. We got into this to help people. And how do we get to know that Johnny needs a new school? or mom just died and we need to deal with her estate. And how do you have that relationship with somebody that them calling you isn't calling Darcy, my real estate agent? Darcy, my friend's going to help me through this. And that's what's so exciting to me about what we do in nurturing database.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing is, so what I suspect is happening, what I know is happening in those meetings that you're having, or those calls you're having, or those coffee dates, is they are leaving there feeling like you care what happens to them. And that's why they're going to call you. Right.
Right.
And are you seeing in the chat here, how many ambiverts
I
are here?
love
Is
it, but
this
it's
like a
not real
thing? Is it,
estate.
maybe that's a thing. Maybe a lot of ambiverts become realtors. Maybe that's,
It's our
maybe
way to
that's what's
force
up.
ourselves out of our homes.
Yes. Okay. So I want to show you a bit about, I want to actually show you guys my database. You know, I'm showing, you know, I co-created this database to sort of fit what I wanted. And part of that is because I wanted something very specific, and it was about efficiency and taking the prep out of everything and building a true referral based business. Not that I'm not buying leads. I'm buying a lot of leads because I'm trying to scale, but I'm trying to really then take those people and then bring them into my sphere and make them part of the community. Right. Any system you're using, hopefully has a bunch of this. If you want to check out this one, it's usphere.com. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And I'm going to bring it up. Okay. So 3 things I wanted, right? 3 things I wanted out of a system that I wanted to be systemized. 1, I wanted a very quick and actionable business plan to be created. Okay. So I don't want to agonize over a business plan, right? I wanted it to be simple, based on math, right? And then I wanted it to be actionable. Like, okay, well, what are you doing every day? Okay. And there's lots of different business plans. And I actually like to do a few different ones. I like to do ones based on, the economic model of like, okay, just how many listings do I need? How many buyers do I need? How, all that kind of stuff. But I also wanted to figure out what's the minimum number of phone calls I need to make a day to my sphere. That's number 1. Number 2 is what I call organic lead generation. I don't know if anyone else calls it that or if they have a different name for it. And what I mean by organic is what we're talking about, as opposed to paying for leads, right? And then the third part of this is transaction management. So there's a lot of things that I feel are very important for me and my team to have systemized. And I'll show you what that is, because as I became very consistent and keeping in touch with my sphere, my pipeline started to fill up. And as my pipeline started to fill up, service started to suffer, because I was like, all of a sudden I'm getting really busy. I'm getting really overwhelmed. And so systemizing a lot of the things so that so that the team can take their focus and really put it on the people and not on administrative things that can easily be systemized was key. And I know that's probably a lot of what coaches are working on with their clients.
Well, Ross, I don't know about you, but what's so funny to me is like, I've done this for 20 plus years. Getting back to basics, it's almost like I'm always so shocked about how easy it is. Like literally, so I'll be doing all the things and all the bright, shiny objects. And I go back to just meeting with my sphere and making the calls. And we'll talk a little bit more that's why I started doing client events, is I needed to offer something of value with those phone calls.
Yeah.
And that whole saying that success is simple, not easy. And I love that you have a system that's like, okay, these are the people you have to call. But I don't know about you, but without a system, you're sitting there, I'm scrolling through my phone, like, oh God, who did I call last? When did I call them? I can't remember. Oh gosh, is their kid's name Tom or is it John? I'm like, I don't know, which sounds terrible. But when you get to the point that you do actually have a relationship with that many people, you kind of need a cheat sheet. And that's what you use. And that's what's awesome about any CRM. And I love that you've made something that's specific to what works for you. And that's awesome. And thank you so much for sharing it with us so we can see it too. But you need a system to keep relationships up. And without it, it's just sporadic. And like I said, I literally went to happy hour with a friend I hadn't seen in forever last night. I guarantee you within a couple of weeks, I'll have a referral from him. And I got to go sit and play and hang out with something and catch up. But I wouldn't know who I needed to without oh gosh, I haven't talked to them in a while.
Yeah. So I kind of actually wanted one just for my personal life.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. I'm
Right.
in my own little bubble again. Again, that whole extroverted
Right.
introvert.
Right. Like, who have I not, who are my friends? Well, I guess it's kind of the same thing though. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah. So another thing I want to say about that specifically is, did you have this experience when I was new? Not just new, I mean, for years, I couldn't control my work life. Like it was 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Right. And I never had a feeling of like, I did it, and now I can, like, without thinking about it, just go off and do something else. That was me. That was my personality. And it was really hard. And so that's the other thing, is that what I needed to know is like, okay, here's my goals for the day. And if I at least do those, I've crushed the day. Right. If I at least make this many calls and I do this and I do that and I do that, because, I have two little kids, 3 and 6. I don't have endless hours of the day now. So, I mean, life has totally changed. So, like I said about taking the prep out of it, I need to go, okay, here's what it is, sit down, do it, crush it, then do seller appointments or whatever else, happens for the rest of the day. And then, okay, now I'm going to be focused on my kids. I'm going to do dinner, I'm not going to be on my phone, and try to really separate that. Right. So that's also,
you're being intentional. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Like, be where your
yeah,
feet are. And it's when you think about it, like when you think organically, you're like, oh, my relationships should be organic. Well, in real estate, not so much. Yes, your tight circle is always gonna be organic. But
yeah,
like you said,
yep,
like it's almost like your to-do list. Be where your feet are, be intentional. If you're having happy hour with a friend, you're just intentional about it. Not intentional like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get business from this person, but intentional that I'm gonna nurture this relationship. And it's all that saying about, what goes around comes around. I'm not meeting with them. It's like a purposeful meeting, but I truly do care what's going on in their life. And it just kind of comes organically from that, if that makes sense. If we
yeah.
use the system, we set a plan, we know what we're going to do. Like we have I'm going to talk to them quarterly or whatever. And that looks like it's what you're doing.
Yeah. So I'm going to show you specifically what I'm looking at every day. This is my actual profile here on usphere.com. The first thing I'm just going to show you really fast, because I want to get to the calling people part, right? But over here on the top right, it says edit 2022 goals. And what happens is you put in, the first time you do it, it's like a wizard. It just asks you one simple question at a time. And then after that, you can go in here and you can edit fields and play with it, right? You can be like, well, what if I want to net $1 million? Well, then what do I have to do? Whatever. But it's asking you every question about your business, about, like, what your income goal is, what your, how you pay your brokerage, what your expenses are, what your average sale price was in the last 12 months, everything. It's also asking you if you have a goal to save for retirement that year. And also if you have a goal for giving, for any organizations that you care about. Whoa. And once you do that, and click save, it's going to calculate all of that. And part of the thing that I want to say about this is I've calculated it based on 23 business days per month. It's like the average of 5 business days per week in a month. And the reason for that is because I'm trying to engineer my business to actually have a couple days off a week. Because imagine that. Wouldn't that be like amazing? So I know it's a dream. But the closer I get to sort of engineering my life that way, the closer I've been getting. And so, so this becomes minimum goals, right? So for me to reach the goal I want, I have to do this. What it's saying is this is my, my volume target. And this is how many transactions I have to do. This is how many referrals I need to try to get a month. And then this is the part that's important to me. I have to have 8 conversations per day with my sphere. Now, this is minimum for me, right? And again, I have a big team. So, like, actually, I don't have a big team compared to some other people. So there's 6 of us. So, there's much bigger teams out there. Point being, I've seen solo agents who aren't looking to do 65 million, right? Some are, and some crush it, but some are looking to do, 15 million. It's like whatever your goal is for whatever you want your life to be is great, right? And this will help you do it. Sometimes I see this number say 2 or 3 a day, which is still crazy powerful, since most agents aren't calling their sphere at all. If it says 2, that's 10 a week. That's 40 to 50 per month. That's like 600 people per year that people aren't talking to, that you're not transactional with. So this is the number that I really, really focus on. It's not that I forget this other stuff. I like to see it, but like, I know that if I do this, the other stuff will follow. And usually what happens is I end up crushing it for the year, right? Because it ends up just working out to be more. But this is how I do it. So here's my database over here. And I'm really into ranking my clients. I know there's lots of different ways to rank it. I'm going to share how I do it. Darcy, I bet Darcy does it differently.
Of course.
But basically, here's the difference. Okay, there's A, B, C, D, X. X simply means that they're not people I market to. That's all it means. X means they're my colleagues. If I'm not going to market to Darcy. I know Darcy's doesn't need me to sell her house. We're both in Portland. But there's people, but I need a lot of people, a lot of title people. I need a lot of contractors, all these people in my database, especially because I attach them to transactions. A, B, C, and D, okay, are going to filter into this list every 90 days, everybody on there. Okay. And the way, there's different people using Sphere that are doing it different ways. The way that I do it is this to me is not hot and cold leads. Okay. Hot leads are potential transactions. That's how I'm personally doing it. Okay. That I put them in the pipeline as a potential transaction. The way that this works is engagement in my Sphere. Okay. So I care about a referral and I care about a sale. And if anybody's done one of those things just one time, they're a B. If they've done anything more than once, they're an A. If they've never done anything, what'd you say?
I think we kind of rank them the same way.
Oh, you do?
As far as the biggest thing is, like, again, I love that you've systematized how you meet with clients. So like for mine, and again, there's no wrong way as long as you do it consistently.
And as long as you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you're doing it. Like for mine, I have my VIPs. Those are my raving fans that I know. Like, I think we all have, like, I probably have 20 VIPs. Those are the core people that I know are a walking billboard for me. I have the A's that have bought or sold multiple properties with me, or they've referred me more than once. My B's are a past client, or I've gotten one referral, and a C is everybody else.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for me, the C's are people who've never done anything, but I'm pretty sure that they would. And I really want to focus on them and try to move them to B or A, obviously. D's also have never done anything, and I'm not sure that they will. A lot of these people came from the internet and are not responding to me, right? And I make decisions about them every quarter. I either going to graduate them to C, or I just put them on a drip forever, and maybe they'll show up. I don't know. Okay, so here's the point though. These people are all going to come into this list every 90 days, right? Kevin, once I talk to Kevin, if I click this, it's going to ask me what we talked about. And I could put a note there and be like, oh, we talked about blah, 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 blah. So next time he shows up, I look at his profile and it says, here's what you talked about last time. Done. Right. The other thing is let's say he says like, hey, I think we want to sell in a couple months. Well, I don't want to wait 90 days to talk to him. Right. Let's say I want to talk to him in, a week from now. I can set that appointment. This CRM syncs with Microsoft and Google. So what happens is when I hit save, this doesn't just show up on this list again that day, but this actually shows up on my calendar on my phone to call him that day. Right. So what happens is once I've gotten consistent and every business day I'm making these phone calls, all of a sudden, I wake up in the morning and I go, oh, look at my calendar. There's 5 people I have to call. What do I have to talk to them about? I don't remember. And I just look at their profile and I go, oh, that's why. Cool. And they're the first calls I make, right? Then I'm calling the other people I have to call for that day. And then I start working on my transactions, because this to me is the low-hanging fruit. The people that are here, that's easy to talk to, right? That's the people we're all talking to, is the people that were pending and active and all that stuff. It's all the people that are in our sphere that are really the future of our database, the future of our business, right? I mean, especially right now, I keep talking about that because right now, what my team is talking about is, hey, there's still however many, look, things have cooled, but there's still a lot of deals happening in this area, right?
Yeah, people still have to buy and sell.
We have to talk to 3 times as many people, right? Darcy, are you feeling the same? Like, we just have to talk to 3 times as many people or more.
Exactly. I don't know. You have to really up it. You got to get in front of more people. There's still people who want to buy and sell real estate. There's always going to be people. There's going to be people that have life changes. They've outgrown their house. They've got a divorce. There's a death in the family. They want to get in a different school district. The people are out there. We just have to make sure we find them. And again, making sure we get out of our own way and just have those conversations and find out what's going on in their lives. That's
Yeah.
how you're going to find that your next sale is find somebody who's in a transition that needs your help. Not really like, oh my God, I have to find a house sale, but there's somebody out there who needs my help. And I know I'm going to be the best person to get them through whatever transition they're going through. Because a house, when you buy or sell a house, it's a transition in their lives.
Totally. So then I'm just going to talk for like just 2 minutes here about the next part, because I do want to talk about how the transaction management has helped my team sort of effortlessly stay on top of deadlines when we get slammed, right? I mean, we, you know, for us, like when we started having 10, 11, 12 and escrow at the same time for the first time, you know, it's overwhelming the first time that you experience that. And you're like, oh man, that's 12 inspection periods and 12 this and 12 that, you know? And so basically like, this is the edit page for a transaction. And, you know, like it's got everything you could possibly need for a sale. So this has really become my team's, the center of our universe for transactions. And the reason I say that is because, you know, we've got all the labels, right? We've got who the lead is, who it's assigned to. What the whole thing about who it's assigned to on my team is that when I do that, all of the deadlines are here, and whoever I assign it to, it also automatically shows up on their calendar on their phone, those deadlines.
Well, can I jump in a little bit on this, Ross?
Yeah.
Ross, is during transactions, this is another great way that you can love on your sphere and get more people to be raving fans. Some of the things that can be added to this checklist that we do is like we deliver custom cookies when a house goes pending. Like you're adding in all of those things that like they're little logo cookies and a little sale pending signs that are delivered. We do like a moving bag. I actually think I have one here. That after the appraisal, this is going to hit. Like we deliver Starbucks with the inspection. Like there's so many things that you can build into your transaction management that are ways that are going to make you stand up from each other, from somebody else. And that's how you're going to get that next referral, which is what we'll be going into a little bit later, is everybody can buy or sell a house. Every agent who's out there can buy and sell a house. How are you going to create an experience? And what Ross has done is systematize it, which is so amazing. But putting those extra steps in there too, like custom cookies, a moving bag, get the Starbucks order the day before, right before you come to the inspection. Are you going to deliver moving boxes 3 days beforehand? Getting all of that. So not only are your transactions systemized, but your care is systemized too. Because Ross, I'm assuming all of this is customizable. You can go ahead and put in your own.
Everything is customizable. Yeah. I mean, I basically give everyone what I'm doing, right? I give everyone like all of my stuff is already in there. But then you can go in there and if you're like, I don't like it, you know. Right. An example of that is this is also because all of the info is here, like literally everything. I mean, everything from how the money breaks out for commissions to all the people involved and all of that. There's a button to just instantly open escrow and send it to escrow. There's a button to update it to SkySlope, right? So this becomes the center of our universe. But because we also have all of that, this is customer facing, right? This goes to the client, and you can upload your logo to white label it to yourself. But I don't do that because I want the other agents to go, what is it? You know, what is this? So I don't put my team logo on it, but other people do. This goes on the client's phone, and you can, you know, this was sort of actually a weird transaction, so we don't have a lot of things on it, but sometimes we have 20 things on there. For sellers, we'll even put and again, like you don't need this, like you could do this yourself, but or something, you know, send them emails or whatever you want. But the thing is that I'm putting this link on my client's phone, and I'm saying to them, hey, this is a stressful experience to sell your house, right? Like, because it's not only for most people your biggest asset, but it's also where you live. And so I personally take it very seriously as my job. Two things. One is to get you the most money for your house. The other is to make this the easiest, stress-free as possible experience for you. And so one of the things that I want to happen is I want you to feel like you always know what's going on at any minute, right? If to me, it's a failure if you ever call me and you say, wait, what's going on? Right? So obviously I'm putting on my calendar my weekly check-ins and all of that, but they also have this link on their phone where they can see everything. So for a seller, this one was a buyer, but for a seller, we'll put like sign install, staging arriving, target market date, right? They have the whole plan of their entire sale. On the right, they have everyone involved. Notice for a buyer, we actually put the home inspector there too. I've stopped getting calls asking me things I shouldn't answer because of that, right? If they do this on their phone and they just touch the phone number, it calls them. So point being, what I think is, really important is to have tools that are going to help you be able to focus on the people, because that's the whole point. I mean, that is absolutely the whole point. It doesn't matter. You were talking about the shiny things, Darcy.
Mhm.
I'm looking only for things that are going to be able to take my attention, either make my clients feel really taken care of, or take administrative things off of my plate so that I can love on my people. And so I want to throw that over to you now, because you were really going to talk about how you love on your people. I should talk about this though.
Yeah.
If
Somebody in
anybody
the
doesn't
chat
have a
asked what
CRM,
system it was. So
yeah, if anybody doesn't have a CRM they love already and they want to try this, this code will give you 2 months for free. So you could just scan it here, or you can use this code Rieger V2R. And if you have questions, you can always reach out to me. So Darcy, I want to hear all about anything you're doing that's different that I talked about. And then also like just in general, like all the things you do.
awesome. Well, thanks so much, Russell. We do a lot of the same things, is really systemizing that touch, because of what I found before I systematized it is, you know what, you get on there and you sit down in the morning, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to do great. I'm going to contact all these people. You wind up calling the same 20, 30 people. You're calling your friends. And it's like, it really forces you to get out of that space. And then also too, I don't know, I'm sure everybody's heard about like the apology script. That was the hardest thing for me. And honestly, it's why I started client events, which is where we're going, is, oh my gosh, it's been 3 years since I talked to that person. How do I say, hey, by the way, it's been 3 years, where are you at? It's like starting out with that, oh my gosh, you know what? I just want to apologize that I think about you so often and I have just never picked up the phone. I am so sorry. How are you? And it automatically, you're in a different space because people kind of take that to heart. And then Kelly and Sean, I know you guys are on as well. If you ever want, like when we start talking about these things that we do for clients, feel free to jump in and kind of chat. We do a lot of client events. We do at least 6 a year. We also do contests. We're going to step in and kind of talk about what we do and why we do them. The reason we started client events, like I had just said, was I was really nervous about calling my sphere. Like I wanted to make sure I was calling with an item of value. And how did I do that? And like I said, we now do a lot of them. We didn't start that way. For example, pie giveaway, like I know almost every agent on the planet does it, but yet again, they're super successful. The first year we did pie giveaway, I did this marketing plan. I sent out all the things. I had 7 people show up to get pie. And I was like, all right, that may be a failure. But it
Darcy,
wasn't.
Okay, now I'm going to jump in.
Yeah.
Darcy and I were talking about our failures on the phone, I think yesterday. And it was awesome because it was what we were talking about was how, like, especially like when we were newer, and it's like you hear about all this stuff people are doing and it's like, oh my God, that's overwhelming. And we started talking about like, I mean, you've all heard this quote, whatever the quote is, and I'm going to butcher, but it's about how if you're not having success, it's that you're not failing enough, right? And so, and I started going like, oh, I had this great idea and I gave it a shot, and this was just a month ago, and it completely failed. It did nothing, and I'm like, oh, okay. And you got to try things, right? And it's not always going to work, and then you're gonna pivot.
Yeah, is it totally true? Because I was talking about like, we're always trying out new events, like what works, what doesn't, what do people want? And like, I did this back to school coffee and I thought, oh, I'm gonna get a coffee cart. I'm gonna do it at a local area. This is gonna be amazing. We had probably 20% of the normal turnout for the crowd. And I was like, So you can look at it one of 2 ways. It was like, oh gosh, I didn't get the response I wanted, but I got such great face-to-face time with those people that came through. So thank you, Ross, for that perspective, because I was talking to him about it. I'm like, oh my God, it totally failed. I had 50 people show up. And he's like, is that really a failure? And I was like, oh, way to shift the lens.
Yeah,
so,
that's actually a pretty good. And wait. And what about also the fact that what matters more, people actually showing up or the invite and then still interacting with them?
and
Like
you're
they can't all make
exactly
it.
right. Yeah, you're exactly right. So when you look, we talk about the marketing plan. This is what's great about client events. You get the kudos and everything about them for doing the event, whether they pick up a pie, whether they come get coffee, whether they go to a shaved ice truck or the pumpkin patch or Santa, you invited them to a party. And it's that whole part of like the whole thing with databases is like, it's like American Express said it best, is membership has its privileges. You're part of this real estate network. You're going to get invited to these things. You're going to get to do these things. And if you think about it, a marketing plan for client events, you know, there's so many touches that you get out of one event. We talk about that 36 touch program. You do an event, you get at least 6 touches. So and that's not even including like the socials kickoff. So your socials, you're throwing it out, like watch your mailbox, save the date. And then you also have that call to action of not on our VIP list, DM us to get a personal invite. We've built our sphere a lot on people who see our events and are like, well, I want to go to that. And part of that's the marketing before, during, and after the event that makes it be a cool spot. And so we've created a community that people come to our events and they see their friends they haven't seen for a while, because that's what's so amazing about a referral-based business is they come to our events and it's a gathering of their friends too. So you want to make sure that it's, again, creating that community. And there's so much on this. I know we only have an hour, and like literally Ross and I were talking, I'm like, I could talk about this for days of all the things that you can do and all the philosophy. So Ross is going to help me keep me on track. So I don't.
Before you start, Darcy, I just want to send a message to everyone. I just want to say we're getting these great comments in the chat, but a lot of people are sending them to hosts and panelists. Please click everyone so that everyone can see them. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. So then looking at the client event, so as far as this is what we do, it doesn't mean it's the right way. It's just what's really worked for us. Like I said, I've been doing events for over a decade. So I have tried some things that have worked amazing, and I've tried others that have not worked well. So really looking at client events, it's like you have the direct mail, a mass client email, like I think Constant Contact or MailChimp or any of those that work. What we found worked really well is because it's like an RSVP button, and that RSVP button will click on to like we have an events at darandarcy.com that is only for our events and goes to a direct spot. But this is what's absolutely amazing is that direct client contact. Ross, you and I chatted a little bit that when we were in the overwhelmed and we were in that order taking phase, we were doing a lot of texts, a lot of, a little graphic about the event coming up in a text.
Yeah, which as an ambivert, I really like text.
Yeah, I was a big fan too. And that said, I am forcing myself to get back to the calls because we all get so many texts. And don't get me wrong, I think texts are a great way to get the message out, and a text is better than nothing. But it's also a really great chance to reach out to that person that, you know what, this is going to sound terrible, don't judge me, just got a divorce. You see that they're getting a divorce. You know that they're going to need another house. You should be calling that person. You shouldn't be texting that person. That person who just had their 3rd baby and you sold them a 1,200 square foot house, that's not a text, that's a call. Again, it's a relationship business, 100%. But also being super personal, purposeful about like, and you don't call and say, hey, oh, sorry to see I got, about the divorce. You call and say, oh my gosh, Santa's coming to town again. Like, we've got appointments this year. I would really love to see you and the kids. Really adapting that message. And I'm going to watch the clock on myself. And then also too, is the follow-up afterwards is just as important. A thank you note right after, like, hey, so great to see you at our pumpkin patch event. I would have loved to get some more one-on-one time with you. Can we set up something in the next month or so that we can sit down and have a chat? Or again, if you somebody like, because way I feel at events, besides exhausted and going back to my hole with my blankie and my glass of wine afterwards, because I've had to be on for however many hours that is, I don't get enough. There's not enough of that. And I feel like our clients feel a little bit of that too. And then also too, I'm so sorry that I didn't see you at pie giveaway this year, but Santa's coming up. Here's our next one. And I briefly mentioned that, pie giveaway, we gave away 7 the first year. And I have to tell you, I was like, well, that didn't work. And I was ready to give up. Last year, we gave away 298 pies. Just keep doing it.
Wow.
And it always shocks me that people will come and pick up a $6 to $8 pie from me instead of like, they're at Costco anyway to go to Thanksgiving, like it's become part of their routine. And like we changed it during COVID, is like there was so many changes about being fluid, but like with our events, we did an in-person, like originally that they came up to our office, we turned the training room into snacks and all the different things for pie giveaway. COVID, we couldn't do that. We still wanted to see our people. We turned it into a drive-through event. And
Hey, Darcy, how many client events do you do a year?
we do at least 6. We also do sometimes what we call pop-up events. And a pop-up event is like, we took over a wine bar. Like, hey, you know what? Next month, let's take over the wine bar down in Northwest 23rd. And literally sent it out like a blast email. First 50 people were taking over the wine bar. During COVID, like, hey, we're gonna have an ice cream truck next week. Like really kind of just the pop-up events. And then the other thing that we actually are just starting to do again are the VIP events and referral based. So for example, for next year, we're doing an Oregon wine country tour. Every 90 days, we're going to hit at a different Oregon winery for those people that have referred us in the last 90 days. I got to push those referrals. Business is tough right now. I am not above bribing people with really good wine to get them to give my name out.
Wait until they've had a couple glasses and then be like, then you'll be like, do you need to buy or
yeah.
sell real estate, or do you know anyone?
Yeah, after my 2 glasses, I'll start asking that.
Exactly.
So really making sure like there's so many options. And I think the biggest advice that I can give is, just do it. It may not be perfect. It may not be big. You may get 5 people who show up. You may get 500 people that show up. It's all in your messaging. If you get 10 people to show up to what you thought was going to be this huge event, what you make them feel like is they were the special ones, that they were invited. They don't need to know that you invited 500 and only 10 came. Like just make them feel really super special. And also too, if you're not getting the engagement that you want, you know what? Do you want to bring a friend? What another great way to really make sure you're increasing your sphere. We do that with like our Easter egg hunt with Santa, things that we know that it's not going to cost a whole lot more if more people come. Bring a friend. You know what? Nobody
please
wants
bring
to go
a
to
friend
the mall.
and introduce them. And yeah.
Oh, they wind up on my sphere before they leave. I mean, it's
That's
another way.
That's the best.
What a great way to build endorsement for yourself and, build more cheerleaders. And especially if you have a client event where, let's say, 2 people that didn't know they were in your database show up together, right? And guess what they're going to do? They're going to talk about you. They're going to leave. They're going to feel good about it. And they're only ever going to think about you guys or you, Darcy, or you, Ross, as their go-to agent. I mean, I just think this is brilliant. I love this conversation.
Yeah, it seems to be, I've talked to so many people throughout the country that are just so intimidated to do client events. You're really just gathering your friends, and that's what you really need to look at it.
And it ends up being fun. And then you're like, oh, I love doing this business. Like,
yeah,
there are times where, the business gets tough and it's like, it's like you need something to help you feel energized and motivated. And you throw a party. I mean, it's awesome. Those people are super happy to hang out with you, and you end up having a great time. And then you walk away from there like, wow, I really do something awesome for a living, So
you do, your cup is full, and it's a thank you. And that's how I look at it for the VIPs. Like we've done casino nights with basket giveaways and all the things. And really like, it's always so amazing to me, and I'm filled with so much incredible gratitude that those people show up to support me. Like they show up consistently to support me. And it feels so amazing to do a give back, and they feel like we're giving them something, but they have given us so much. Like, it's just truly like really working on that. This is a community and we're all in this together. Like my vendors are all in my sphere. Like I try to highlight local businesses as well. And I'll jump a little bit into that. I could talk about client events forever. So I'm going to try to move on so we don't run out of time. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys. I chat a lot. Contests. This is something that we kind of embraced as well. We did the one I want to talk about. There's a couple I want to talk about, but we gave away a Yeti, and what we started with is all my koozies. We give away like an item of value. So at one of our events, we gave away these koozies, which, cheesy, cheap. But what we did was this contest that was called Want to Win a Yeti. And the contest was show us where the koozie was. We had this koozie in Europe, in Mexico, China, all the different places. And it was a contest on socials, and you tagged one on the win a Yeti. And we did this one for 90 days. We gave away a Yeti, like these gigantic Yetis, every 30 days. And then we picked the top 5. Our team just picked out the top 5 pictures of it. And like, we had so many more entries than I ever thought. What was crazy to me is the win. And then what it turned into is those 5 people shared, like they said, hey, I want to win a Yeti, please vote for my picture. So they started sharing all over the place. We had 33,000 votes for the Yeti. What incredible exposure. Totally shot up our page engagement. Like, it was amazing. And a lot of it, those are kind of hard to track but it's really just brand awareness is what we're tracking. And the other one that we just did was Papa Top. And again, this was highlighting the local businesses. Like, I don't know if anybody's seen these little Papa Tops. You put your little beer bottle or whatever it is here and it pops off the top. And it was like, how do you pop a top? And we were giving away a Traeger. But what we did is incorporating video, which I am slowly coming around to, is that we went to 4 local breweries and we had a weekly drawing every week for how do you pop a top? Same kind of concept, posted on our socials, but we did videos at the local breweries. We gave away a gift certificate to the local breweries and did that for 4 weeks until we gave away a Traeger at the end. Again, it's just another way to be, here I am, I sell real estate. Here I am, I sell real estate. I am showing up. And again, trying to get people, I do these contests because you know what, why they're looking to see what I'm giving away. They're looking at my listings. They're looking at what I just sold. They're looking at my real estate facts. They're seeing what our team is doing. They're, all of that engagement. And the same thing, we also do random giveaways. If you guys are familiar with socials at all, which I know you all are, donut day, like ice cream day, like there's all these different things like donut day, like we gave away a gift certificate to a local donut shop. Tell us who you'd like to share a donut with. And that's like 1 point for likes, 2 points for shares, 3 points for tagging, and like 5 points for a referral. The main reason is to draw those people in and remind them that you sell real estate while you're giving stuff away.
Hey, Darcy, what again was the item for the Papa Top giveaway?
Traeger. So we gave away every week, we gave away a $50 gift certificate to a brewery.
But what was the
At
actual
end, we
blue
give away
thing
Traeger.
that you?
What's
the
that?
the bottle opener.
Yeah, little
Right.
Papa Top.
Cool.
Okay, referral. Sorry, I'm watching the clock just because I have so much to chat with you about. Referrals and reviews. Reviews are more important now than they ever have been. I can't remember the exact statistic, but I want to say it's like 73% of people take an online review as seriously as if their best friend told them. So really making sure, and like so much, I'm going to start kind of at the bottom of the slide as far as why is there needed. It's validity. We all, like, if you're going to buy anything right now, you go online and you look at the reviews. You meet somebody at an open house, the first thing they're going to do is Google your name and see how many houses you've sold. Do you have any reviews, like who you are? And so a lot of people are like, oh, where do I start? There's a ton of different ways. How we did it, again, we're all about contests and like trying to get that engagement. We really started with a contest. We sent something out to all of our past clients. You can be email if you want to do it on a more budget friendly, but we did it with more of a postcard, like, that we were giving away a 250 gifts card. I think we did it to Nordstrom. Thanks so much for your loyalty and trust, kind of as the messaging, asking them for a review. Everybody who gave us a review, we had a coffee on us. And so we sent them a $5 Starbucks card with a personalized note. I so appreciate you taking the time. And now that has turned into a system for, like, just Ross, like you said, like we're back into the systems. Our reviews are a system. The day before closing, usually the day they sign, is when our TC sends out a email that talks about, thanks so much for your loyalty and trust. We'd really love to hear how we did. As you can imagine, it really helps build our business. And then it goes through all of the links. We do Google, Facebook, and Zillow. And we, for every Facebook or every one they do, we give them a $5 Starbucks card. So if they do one, they get 5, they do all 3, they get 15. And we make it super, super easy. Here's the link. And then we'll put something like pro tip, write a review, cut and paste, go to the next link. And then what happens is our TC sends that out. And then Ross, if it was you, like say I'm the TC, it goes out to your client, then you pop on and just say, hey, Jim and Susie, like it was so great working with you. Thank you so much for your trust. I would really appreciate it. I know you're super busy right now with the move to blah, 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 and getting your dog that great yard. Again, making it personal. If you could take the time to do this for me, I'd really appreciate it. 50% more engagement when the agent popped on. So you've got the form letter and then you've got the make it personal from the agent.
I love that. Great system.
So that's the system. Obviously, our goal is always to get those referrals. And we've talked a lot about that. I don't ever really ask for a referral. I mean, I always say ask for the referral, and I do and I don't, but I never, like when I'm at a client event, I don't be like, who do you know? Like we talked about at the very beginning, who will buy and sell real estate. Literally what I work more on is like they say, oh my gosh, I'm just so grateful, or thank you so much. I can't believe we got that. I'll say things like, or how can I ever repay you for this? You know, tell everybody you know, or like, you know, or if I do something for a past client, oh my gosh, what can I do? Can I pay you for this? You know, because we all are doing those favors that you're showing up to say, hey, what kind of counters can I do? What do I need for carpet? Is this bathroom worth it? They're always asking like, well, what can I do for you? That's when I say, tell everybody you know about me. Anybody else have any kind of system with what they ask for reviews? Awesome.
Just real quick, Darcy, one thing I want to comment on is when people leave reviews, like on Zillow and Google, sometimes as agents, we can comment on their review. Do you ever go back and do that?
Always. Always, 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 because this is what's amazing. Thank you, Kelly, for bringing that up. On Google, it pushes you up the site. So not only how many reviews pushes you up the site, but if you respond, it pushes you up the site. So when they're Googling you and you've got more reviews, and especially if you've interacted, the Portland real estate agent, I pop up higher because of the amount of Google reviews I have. And I have to tell you, for years, all I did was Zillow, because let's face it, we love and hate Zillow, but everybody goes there. And so I only did Zillow. But then Zillow, when they, you know, for a while they were threatening to become a brokerage, and I don't know what the story is. I haven't followed it enough on what's going on with what they're doing. I got a little terrified that they could wipe all my reviews at any time. So what I started to do is we literally, our admin cut and pasted all of the reviews. We have them in our Dropbox. So we always have those. So they're ours and not Zillow. And that's when I did kind of so I did the original contest, but then I went back and literally, or I didn't, I'm lucky enough to have an admin who did it for me, took their review and said, thank you so much for the Zillow review. So all of you that have Zillow reviews, I really appreciate your trust. Can you do me a favor? And then I put the Google and the Facebook or the realtor.com, really difficult. I would recommend, I don't want to say recommend not using it, but there's a long process to leave a review. So we didn't have really good engagement on that, talking about the fail and try again. Because I didn't even think about the benefit it would have from it, but having reviews in different spots really does help. And I would really strongly recommend, if you've got Zillow reviews, they could be on there for eternity, or Zillow could decide tomorrow they don't want to promote any other agents. So I would just make sure to have them in your possession.
Hey, Darcy, one thing about Google reviews also that I like over Zillow is Zillow has to be tied to a transaction. Google can be anybody. I mean, friends, family, anybody that's done, you know, just somebody that came to an event that hasn't done a transaction with you, but they enjoyed your event, they can leave a Google review. So if you just can blast it out to everybody also, when, you know, so people start seeing it, it starts building. We're up, I mean, we've been really pushing that hard also, like you have, for get more reviews on Google. And we've gotten 3 deals this year just off straight Google reviews.
Yeah, it's amazing because again, they start online. We get a lot of people that I'm like, oh, where'd you find us? Because I always use the line like, hey, I want to know who to thank. You know, where'd you find us? And that kind of goes too on the referrals, making sure that you are acknowledging the people. Like, you know, they say, oh my gosh, Ross recommended you super highly. I want to make sure I am calling Ross, thanking him for the referral. Again, I obviously drink a lot of coffee. Starbucks, I really should start getting stock from Starbucks. The amount I talk about how much I give that stuff away. They get a $25 Starbucks card in the mail with a thank you. The second one, like that's the first review. The second review, they have, like I said, we have a mug that's all like a Yeti that's like, and this is delivered to their front door with a Starbucks card in it. The third review they give us is like, it's basically like a tier of like your first one's a Starbucks card, your second one's a Yeti, your third one's $100 gift card to whatever you think that they want. So it's also, again, just a reward and a thank you to continue to do it. So I'll pop in. We only have 5 minutes left. So I'm going to kind of go through these next two so quickly. If you've got questions for me, Bella, do you mind putting my email and my number in the chat so I can answer any questions, since I'm really going to go through this really quickly. We do pop buys every month. They are very much a targeted audience. We do about 20 to 30, honestly, depending on what things come with in the pack. Here's our one for this month. Super simple. It's like a little tag that says pumpkin and spice and real estate advice, little cheesy. And then it's got all of our socials on the back and let's stay connected. They're just something that's $5 to $7 that's just dropped off on their front doorstep. We have a runner that we pay for 10 hours a week, and all she does is directionals and running around. If you've got the time and you're looking for business right now and you have the time, it's a great thing to do yourself if you're trying to get just a minute of face-to-face contact. And then what happens is we send a picture of it. Our runner sends us a picture. We send it to them and it just says, hey, check your front doorstep for a sweet surprise. Hope you're having a great day. Again,
Darcy, when you do Popeyes, about how many are you doing every time you do a Popeye?
20 to 30 a month. I mean, you can, again, this is something you can do 5. And if you look at Pinterest for real estate Popeyes, there's some amazing ones and there's some really cheesy ones. We just joked one time.
There's no shortage of cheesy ones, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, they're so bad. Some of them are so bad. What I laughed at though is one of our Popeyes wound up on a Pinterest board. I'm like, I have no idea how that happened, but I'm so excited it did. So there's so many ideas. It doesn't have to be expensive. Our admin really loved coming up with them, which is great. And then again, it's targeted. Somebody you know is having a life change. Sellers or buyers that are kind of on the fence. In this case, all of my Popeyes this month were buyers that popped out of the market due to interest rates. And like, it's kind of like, hey, here we are again. It's going to give me a reason to get in front of them again, to call them and just say, hey, I hope you found this on your front doorstep. How are things? And talk to them about rate buy downs. Talk to them about what opportunities are in the market. All of this, it's very purposeful. We're just trying to get in front of them. Again, I just got 3 minutes. So in anniversaries, every month for their anniversary, from anybody who's ever bought or sold a house from me, they get something on their doorstep. Like this month, these are like, I think I have them with me. It's like a little cutting board with our logo with a cheese knife with it. We have done local honey, local jam. I almost always have it be something consumable. Just something quick and easy. Again, $5 to $7. And it's got a little card that says happy home anniversary or happy anniversary on the purchase of your home. It's a handwritten thing that talks a little bit about personal. I will tell you, people who have it's been a decade and I'm not as much in contact with as I'd like to be. I stalk their socials beforehand to try to find something out, and I'll make comments that like, hey, I see Johnny's doing great. Yep, sorry for the social stalking. Like I'll actually say, I hope your trip to Europe was amazing. And I actually acknowledge the fact that clearly, since I hadn't talked to them for a bit, but that ensures that every single one of my past clients at least hears from me once a year. It better be more than that, but at least once a year, they know I'm still in real estate. And then I'll kind of end on, I got 1 minute, the relationship building. There's so many things that we do, like as far as the client events, we do workshops for buyers, sellers, and investments. We do the market updates once a month through like a constant contact or a MailChimp. But really there's the one-to-many, which is all of those things we've talked about. But then there's the one-to-one. It's like we have little sick day mugs that we drop off if you hear about somebody being sick, new babies, weddings, like pay attention to what's going on in their life and acknowledge it. And that's something I will admit to you, during COVID, I got really, really away from. And I've started to really embrace it in the last couple months, and my team's just laughing at me because it's something that I totally, absolutely believe in and I preach, but I personally had gotten away from it. And I came into my office the other day and I was talking to one of our agents. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I did this, this, and this, and I've gotten these 3 phone calls. And he's like, yeah, you told us it worked. You know what I mean? But it's just kind of funny. Like, here I am again doing it. I'm like, oh, this is actually not hard at all. I'm enjoying myself getting new clients. All right. Did I hit noon? I hit noon. If anybody has any quick questions, I know that a lot of you have time, and thank you for taking your time to be with us today. All right.
The first thing I'm going to do that I love about your reviews is I'm always sending them a couple, at least 2 or 3 sites to review on. And I never thought about scaling up the thank you gift for how many that you
Oh.
post on. Love that. Doing that immediately.
Awesome. Thanks everybody for coming. Totally appreciate it.
Thank you,
Like I said,
everybody.
if you've got any personal questions, feel free to text me, send me an email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Me as well. Don't hesitate. Thanks, everybody.
Great to
Have a
have you
good day.
guys. Thank you.